As a teacher, this whole process of Literacy First has helped me to understand the components that are involved in teaching children to read. I don't think I ever understood each component and how they fit together and how that should be weaved into our instruction every day. And I think that I've grown as an instructor to understand the big picture and then to be able to take the little pieces apart and look and see the pieces and then put it back together. And I think that's what's made me a better teacher, is that I now understand the whole picture, and I don't think I ever did before. English language learner requires the same strategies, but the difference is the depth of the strategy, as well as they need to have things done at a multisensory level. They have no prior knowledge, and you have to build this foundation, this prior knowledge for them to understand vocabulary, to understand all kinds of things about comprehension that they read. And that prior knowledge, you have to keep going further and further back in their knowledge to find this place where they can connect to something, because their prior knowledge is so different than the student that's been raised in the United States or doesn't have a language or a second language. And once you establish the prior knowledge, then you use the same strategies, but they're very much more in depth. And you have to find that place, start that foundation, and start digging in and finding how deep you have to go. And a very good example of that is phonological awareness. They have no understanding of phonological awareness in English. They may in their native language, but not in English. And so you have to go back and find those holes in phonological awareness. The strategies for the English language learner are the same. The difference is the depth and the delivery of that instruction. First of all, with an English language learner, you can't assume anything that they know. And you have to build this foundation. But the problem is you have to go back and find, where do you start where they can make a connection and some experience. So you have to keep going backwards and backwards in their learning to find that place where there's a connection between their experience and their prior knowledge and what you're trying to teach them. And that's the part that most teachers don't want to do, because they don't want to take the time to do it, because it is involved. Then once you start building that foundation and you find the connections to that prior knowledge, then you begin to start looking for the places that are holes in their reading experiences. Like, for an example, would be phonological awareness. They can't rhyme. They have great difficulty with rhyming. They have great difficulty hearing what's the same, what's different in words. And so you must go further and further back, and you have to use multisensory approach to that. For example, they maybe never have seen a pumpkin. So you have to go out and get a pumpkin and put it in their hand and discuss how it feels, what it looks like, and what it's for, as opposed to a picture, maybe. Or just talking about a pumpkin. They're not going to have that experience, maybe, as they maybe have never been to the pumpkin patch. And so you have to start back there with those experiences with them. Although the strategies are the same, it's just so much more in depth with them, finding the place to start building. They also, I think when you start that building, then you have to spend a lot of time on very structured instruction, as it has to have a purpose. Every single thing has to build on the thing before, and it has to keep building, and this foundation keeps getting higher and higher. And I think some of the strategies that we use easily would be, kids can categorize and sort, but English language learners have difficulty with that. So you have to, some of those prior experiences and prior knowledge has to be tied to some type of category. For example, what in this bag are the things you would use to eat with? They don't know the name of a fork or a knife or a spoon, but they know that you eat, or they'll motion with it. So you have to work on language and vocabulary more in depth by touching and feeling and experiencing whereas most children could learn just because they've had that 5 years at home, or this is a spoon, eat with a spoon. And I think that's the key things with English language learners, that you have to find that place of where to start.